It's Mailbag Monday time again, and the openings begin, as usual, with the beer of the day. This time it is Bomber Beer from Trans-Canada Brewing in Winnipeg. This is done as a promotion, possibly even a collaboration, with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers football team. I was originally planning on saving this one for a nice warm game day, but we're not having many warm days anymore, so I figured I would throw it in here just for the fun of it. Yeah, that's definitely a summer beer. Quite hoppy, hoppier than I usually like, but whatever. It's a beer, I'll take it. First thing in calls itself electronic product with no other description. What do we have here? Looks like connectors. These are the 2-pin figure 8 AC power input connectors. I had to replace one a while ago on something. I can't even remember what it was, but I ended up using a salvaged one that I'd been keeping for years and years. So I figured I'd order a couple of these when I saw them for presumably cheap on, the usual suspects, eBay, AliExpress, Banggood, one of those. Let's go and take a look. Black 8-shaped socket, 2.5 amp, 250 VAC, power socket connector adapter 2-pin. I ordered 3 pieces of socket plus power cord, but I only got the sockets. Well, that is annoying. And that is about $1 US more than I paid for it, and there was free shipping back then. Yeah, it has been updated by the seller. As always, search around, use the search terms, etc., etc., and maybe don't buy from this seller because what I ordered is not what they shipped. Well, after that disappointment, let's see what this next thing is. It says lithium-ion insulation kit. How do we open this without cutting into whatever it is? It's a coil of stuff. Oh, it says 3 meters there. Okay. 18650, 120 millimeter. Assuming that's 120 millimeters there. Yeah, that looks like it. What did I order? Oh, this is adhesive back. We used to call it fish paper, although not the adhesive back stuff. It is an insulating paper material for some level of electrical insulation, but what we always used to use it for was when we're putting a loom of cables or a bundle of cables around a corner of something, or if we had really tight lacing string on it or something, we would put some of the non-adhesive version of this around, and it would give us some durability and abrasion resistance to the bundle of wires. This stuff they are claiming is for protecting 18650s and stuff, or other lithium-ion packs, and I guess it would definitely work for that. It seems to be fairly durable. I mean, you can still tear it, but yeah, it takes a fair bit to damage it, and I'm using the back of the knife, not the front, but it seems to be somewhat abrasion resistant anyway. That's good. I guess that will work. It's not, like I said, it's not exactly what I was thinking it was, but it will definitely work. For example, on a little DIY pack like this, I could, instead of putting a whack of Kapton tape on there, just put a chunk of that on there, and it'll provide some abrasion resistance and electrical insulation. I think that'll still be useful. Well, clicking on the link in my order history didn't help at all. So here is a search term that does find it, and of course I'll put a link to this down below for your convenience. As far as I can tell, this is the one that I ordered, or, as close as I can get anyway. That's kind of the same picture that shows up in my search, in my history. It's going for about $6.50 Canadian right now. It was closer to $5 back when I ordered it back in April. So yeah, there you go. Links down in the description. So far, 2 things that I'm not 100% thrilled about. Let's see if the third one is going to change our luck here. What are you? Oh, that looks very much like a kit. And since it isn't a zip bag, since it's sealed, I'm not going to open it right now because I don't want to lose parts. I've made that mistake in the past. But from what I can see in here, looks like we've got a 7-segment LED, 1 or 2 chips, and an ultrasonic distance module, in addition to a bunch of smaller components and a circuit board and what looks like a battery holder. I think I'm going to have to go running off to the listings to see if I can find what that is, but I've got an idea. It seems familiar. DIY ultrasonic ranging alarm kit, DC 4.5 to 6 volts ultrasonic distance measuring module solder practice kit with LED lights DIY kit. That's a mouthful. Currently they're selling it for $9.12, and it is what I thought it might be. There is the kit of parts, and that looks an awful lot like what I've got. So it's not 2 ICs, it's just one big one in there. Some kind of a microcontroller, probably. There is their description, accurate within 40 centimeters, which is pretty standard for these ultrasonic modules. It's the same ultrasonic module that shows up in a lot of the Arduino starter kits, and I've got several of them, including a few that were gifted by viewers like you. Thank you for that. But in this form factor, and you could build your own Arduino module kit based on that and come up with the same thing. I thought this would be interesting to just have it all on a single circuit board. There we go. The mailbag has redeemed itself. Let's see what is in this heavy little package here. It is a bunch of XLR connectors. These are 3-pin chassis mount XLR connectors, both the male and the female version. Oh, these are metal framed ones, as opposed to the plastic framed ones that I got before. That's an improvement in quality right there. Plus, these are the solder cup variety, so they are designed for just sticking wires into, as opposed to those other ones that I got, which just had pins sticking out the back, which were intended for circuit board use, but you could, tag wires onto them, I suppose, if you wanted to. Just for comparison, here's these other ones that I had, and it looks like I've only got them in the male variety, but they are plastic, they're slightly smaller, they weigh nothing, and like I said, they're designed for circuit board mounting, not for wiring to loose wires going elsewhere in the cabinet. Plus, I don't have very many, so that is why I bought these ones, and these seem to be a better choice. 10 pieces XLR connector, 3-pin panel mount chassis socket, male plug, female jack plug for microphone. Sure. Currently they're on sale for $16.48 for the lot of 10 of them, 5 male and 5 female, or 10 male or 10 female, but I got the 5 and 5, and that is basically what I paid for them back in the beginning of June, so that's cool. Something that hasn't actually gone up in price. The description, as usual, is kind of random, but it's mostly accurate. Alloy and plastic, sure. Plastic insulator, XLR connector 3-pin, silver and black. Yeah, what else do you want? And now, the last and largest thing in. Again, no lies on the outside of it indicating what it might be. It's a kit. It's another kit. DIY Solder Project Game Kit, classic games for electronic soldering practice, etc., etc. Well, that's kind of neat. A kit to build my own game. Now, I'm trying to remember, of all the kits that I bought, what is it? Oh, 2 pieces here. This appears to be laser cut acrylic case for it. That's neat. So, looks like we have 4 push buttons and a D-pad, and then another one over there, and on-off switch or something like that, maybe. And the other surface has a screen cutout. So buttons on the back and screen cutout on the front? Huh. It calls itself a Pixel Game Boy. Interesting choice of words. I see a 7-segment 3-digit display there for scorekeeping, presumably. It looks like all the small components are in a separate bag in there. So I think I will break my previously stated rule and at least open this up just to take a look at what the instruction sheet is. I'm not going to go too deep. I just want to find out what this guy is because it doesn't ring any bells. Well, that's interesting. Looks like we've got a couple of LED matrices. These things here, these 8x8s. Yeah, probably. 7-segment display. Microcontroller, presumably. Speaker. There's the buttons and the button. It doesn't really say what the game is. But in here it says there are 4 options. Tetris, Greedy Snake, Racing, and Arcadon? I don't know what that one is. But Greedy Snake is just going to be the classic snake game. Tetris is Tetris. Racing, I'm not quite sure. Maybe just a vertical scroller. And I still don't know what that one is. Oh, it's not Racadon, it's just Raiden. Which still doesn't help me. But left and right and firing bullets. Regardless, I will figure that part out once I've built the thing. And it's even got instructions for the shell. It's got surprisingly complete instructions for a cheap Chinese kit. So yeah, that should be a fun one to put together. I think that's going to go fairly high on my priority list in December when we get around to them. Cool. DIY Solder Project Game Kit. Classic games for electronic soldering practice learning gift for family and friends. Currently selling for $23.38. You can get the completed version, the non-kit version, for $23.38, but why would anyone here do that? Especially when the kit version is only $16. So here is the description here, which is slightly different. We have blocks, racing, fighter, and snake eating. Interesting translations. Maybe this is just trying to avoid getting sued by whoever wrote the snake game 100 years ago at the dawn of computing history. I don't know. Anyway, there is what the completed kit looks like. And realistically, it's not that many components because 90% of what's going on is happening inside this STC microcontroller in the code. And I'm just happy to do the physical work, the soldering, the assembly, the electronics, and leave the code to somebody else. Because as I have said before, my favorite coding language is solder. With the kit, I'm going to guess that probably the hardest thing is going to be the fiddliness of putting together the laser cut acrylic panel, but we'll find out when we get there. Stay tuned. And there we have the contents of today's Mailbag Monday haul. Quite the variety, a few disappointments, like these things not shipping with the matching cables like they were supposed to. And I don't know, this I guess is what I ordered. I was kind of thinking it wasn't the adhesive-backed one, but now that I've had a few minutes to think about it, that adhesive-backed one may be more useful. As I said, the one that I thought I was getting would just be good for tie wrapping around a bundle of cables to prevent abrasion on the cables, but this will serve a purpose too. Then we have a couple of kits. We have this ultrasonic rangefinder kit and the Pixel Game Boy, not associated with either Google Pixel or Nintendo Game Boy, but it still looks like an interesting and a fun kit. And then we have these XLR chassis mount connectors. They will come in handy. I use them occasionally. They are, of course, used for audio, and they're just the standard microphone connector, but they are also used incorrectly, but still commonly, for cheaper DMX 512 lights. And any of the cheap DMX lights that I've got have been using 3-pin instead of the standards compliant 5-pin. So there you go. All probably useful stuff. Definitely, as I said, I've had to replace one of those in the past and I had to use a salvaged one, so those will still be good to have in stock. Anyway, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Questions and comments down below as usual. Thanks to my YouTube channel members and my Patreon supporters for helping pay for all this shenanigans and helping keep the beer fridge full. I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for watching once again. I will talk to you later.